Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I didn't really know if I was going to get this video done today. I was going to say a coin flip, a guitar plectrum flip is what decided it for me, and I am going to make a video, and it's this one. I've got 5 albums to do for this episode of Music of the Week, so let's do those albums. We first of all go to Salt Lake City, Utah for Eidola with their album The Architect. Now, as I'm currently having a mooch, it is their 4th album, and about 4 years since their last one, and I think this was supposed to come out last year, but 2020 was last year, and we all remember what happened in 2020, even though we would very much like to forget. These are a unique sort of metalcore-y, proggy sort of group, sort of a more serious version of Dance Gavin Dance, and they even actually feature John Mess from that band on a song. This album's pretty good though. I'm giving it a B. For my first Eidola experience, it was an album I was hyped for when I heard one of the singles that came off to promote it, and I really liked what I heard on that. I like what I hear on most of this album. I wish there were a bit more substance at certain points, but there is pretty good storytelling when it counts. There is some really solid instrumentation as well. The riffs are especially quite good. The lead vocalist, let me just bring up the band again, his name, Andrew Wells. He's really good. He's got quite a good bit of range on him. I like the fact that this isn't one of the screamier style of prog rock that I've been hearing lately, prog metalcore, excuse me, and it focuses on more of a clean vibe, and it works for the most part. It's not perfect, but it's still really solid, and, these guys have been around for a decade for a reason, so yeah, maybe pick this one up if you're into it. And speaking of fourths, we go to the only British band in this episode, Employed to Serve, with their 4th album, Conquering. They're from Woking, Surrey, and I loved their last one, Eternal Forward Motion. That was one of my favourites of 2019, and I absolutely love this one as well. This is going to be one of my favourites of 2021, giving this an A+. Incredibly dynamic, really love the lyrical themes. Justine Jones is an absolutely fantastic vocalist. Everyone sounds bloody amazing on this album. A lot of people complain that it sounds like one constant sort of song in a way, but I'm all for it. I think the songs were easy enough to determine and pick apart from each other. It's a long album, but it fills its length in some really interesting and fun ways. As I said, dynamic as hell, solid production as well, really ties it all up, got really good structure, got really good substance to it as well. The performances are fucking great. I really like the cover art too. The cover art is something I would put on an attire probably for my wrestling. So yeah, really fucking enjoy this album, and definitely the one I'd recommend the most from this album. Also, I'm going to try and recommend albums a bit more in episodes instead of editing them in post, but I'll probably still do that anyway. But yes, you should absolutely find Conquering by Employed to Serve. I really fucking enjoyed it, so yeah. Next up we go to Hancock County, Ohio's own The Plot Year with their 5th album, Swan Song. Now, I caught their last album, Disposed, back in 2018. This one took a while for, not for pandemic reasons, but because the lead vocalist, Landon Tewers, was focused on doing something for his side project, but then he came back to get a bit more work on this, and I really liked Disposed, and again, really fucking enjoyed this. I'm giving this an A. Really love the storytelling vibe that The Plot Year have always sort of had, even though I've only heard 2 albums by them, Dispose and Swan Song. And their storytelling's on point. They got really good emotion too. Landon Tewers is he has a really good conveyance of his emotions. And a lot of the themes, they're not as bleak on this one as they were on the last one, and there is more of a positive sort of lean, more of a self-realization sort of theme in the lyrics, and I wouldn't call it a concept album by any stretch, but it does contain really good little stories that do add to something a little bit better. And solid riffs as well, really good riffs, really good performances from everyone. Again, the production is solid, with Landon Tewers being one of the producers for the album. The dude knows what he's doing, and he manages to bring out a lot of the album sound in a really good way. Doesn't put the focus on himself as the vocalist, which I do appreciate. So yeah, it's just really solid post-hardcore. It's another one I would highly recommend. Next we go to the only Canadian band in this episode, Victoria, British Columbia's Spirit Box, with their debut album, Eternal Blue. Now, a lot of people were really clamouring for this one, weren't they? And Courtney LaPlante, who was the former lead singer of I Wrestled the Bear Once and a couple of other bands, helms up the vocals for this band as well. And this album is really good. I'm giving it an A-. I think what tacks on the minus for me is it does fall a bit into the generic nature of metalcore as a whole, but everything surrounding it is great. The performances are really good. There's some really decent songwriting. There's some really good songwriting. It's got solid structuring. The structuring is where it sort of goes a bit back and forth. Still, really good album. Absolutely, without a doubt. I don't know if it'll be in my top 30 of the year. I think a lot of people probably lynch me if it's not. I just, I think it's just because I heard Conquering first before Spirit Box, because I do like the bands in alphabetical order for the albums I'm going to listen to for a weekend. So I'll always prefer Conquering, but I really did enjoy Eternal Blue. So I would still recommend giving it a try. And A- is still a really great grade, because this is a really great album from a band who can only grow. Hopefully they learn from the few mistakes that are on this album, because there's not many, and they're able to progress. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next, because if this album is any indication, the next one's going to be really, really good. And finally, we go to Irvine, California for Thrice with their 11th album, Horizons East. Knowing them, it'll probably be followed by Horizons West quite soon. But Thrice are a band who I do have a bit of a soft spot for, even though my only album before this was Palms back in 2018, and this is their first album since that. And giving it a B+, really enjoyed a lot of the things on display. It's more of a chill sort of album from them, much more than Palms was. And was it Palms or Psalms? It was Palms, I was right. But yeah, this is even more chill than Palms was in places, and I would call Palms a little bit heavier and a little bit more memorable. I'd still also give that a B+ if I were ranking that, rating it, grading it, whatever. This, B+, really, really fun for the most part. Really like, so again, the sort of political lean, the themes of like the love and loss and stuff like that, as is their bread and butter. And Dustin Cantor is a great vocalist and a really good lyricist, so I don't think people should forget that. It's also got really nice cover art. The cover art's pretty. Got really good production, which I think is the main thing that helps it. It can feel a bit dragged on for an album that's not terribly long. I think it's 10 songs between 30 and 40 minutes. It's not the longest album, but it does sometimes stumble to find ways to fill the time. However, it's still absolutely a really good album from a band who have been doing really good albums pretty much since they started. So I'd recommend it, maybe, if you want to give it a go. And that's it, all 5 albums from this episode all done and dusted. The ones I would recommend the most, probably Employed to Serve, The Plot and You, and Spirit Box. Those are the 3 I would recommend the most. I think only 2 of them could be in my top 30, and one of them definitely will be with Employed to Serve. Oh my god, that's such a good album. But yeah, as for what's next, there won't be a stream tonight because I really want to knuckle down on the attires I'm making for Defy the Gods 3. I've been doing actually quite good in those this week, so I want to keep that flow going for today. So I'm not going to be streaming tonight, and I'm not going to be streaming me doing the attires either, because, I don't want to spoil anything for what I'm trying to do. And that's about it for the future. Maybe a Fight of the Night on Sunday if there is a Fight of the Night to review. And at some point after that, I've got to get to work on the Week Amers Romans backtracking episodes, and they'll be out probably the week after if I can get it done quick enough. And then at some point there'll probably be another Music of the Week episode next week, and hopefully next Friday, if I can get it all done, Defy the Gods 3. That's the only sort of maybe guarantee, which isn't really a guarantee, it's a maybe. But that's the closest thing to completion that I can give you. Probably I've got to put up the PBW versus AVW part as well. I'll do that tonight instead to make up for the lack of stream. But that's it. That's it, really. See you technically tonight, but even though I'll be streaming, and as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome.